Welcome to our short video for the Hidden Stories Books Along the Silk Road project. We're here today briefly discussing a Nepalese Pañcarakṣā Sūtra manuscript, the Sutra of the Five Protectresses, that is housed in the Thomas Fisher Rare Book Library collection at the University of Toronto. And I'm here with Alexander and Jinah. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So, Jinah, what are we looking at here?
So as you introduced, this is the Pañcarakṣā Sutra, Sutra of the Five Protectresses, five goddesses that are specialists in dealing with all the life's calamities. They offer protections against disease, misfortunes. If you're going on a long journey, you want to get blessing from them, protection from them. So they are like true protectors in life, and they're life companions that will kind of guardians that will protect you from all these difficult situations. So that's what we're looking at. This is a Nepalese manuscript, a paper manuscript that was prepared in Nepal, and we know this was prepared in Dharamula Monastery because we have a Colophon page. But before going there, I'll just point out that the five deities that are present on the first folio, on the verse of the first folio, is the five goddesses, although you don't think they might represent goddesses, partly because it's a late example, and in late examples where you have more Tibetan inflected pictorial styles, the goddesses less look feminine, I guess, than anything else. So
yeah, and to briefly say, our five goddesses are in five different bodily colors corresponding to the five directions. They're on their five different vehicles. They each have multiple heads, and they're also, each of their vehicles are also on lotus thrones, lotus pedestals, but they're floating in this beautiful kind of blue sky landscape. And then on that first page, you have a painting of Vajradhara, which you said is kind of an unusual thing, right, Jinah?
This is an unusual example to have a Vajradhara on the first page of the Pañcarakṣā manuscript, but that's partly because this actually has been refurbished or repaired in the later centuries. So we'll come back to that, but I'll just mention that the five goddesses, let's invoke them because there are five. That's important. Five set of five. The Mahapratisara in the center, who's white, Masa Pramardani, who's blue. Yellow is Mahamayuri, and to far left end, the red is Mahamantra Nusarini, and to far right is Mahashitavati, the green. So those are the five goddesses we have here.
Great. And moving on to our amazing colophon, Alexander, what is this and what does it help us to know?
Well, as Jinah pointed out, what this colophon can do is let us know where this manuscript was produced. It was produced in Dharamula Mahavihara, Dharamula Monastery, which is in Kathmandu, in the Kathmandu Valley. And it also tells us who the sponsors were. Another thing to note about the colophon is that the colophon is partially in Sanskrit when it's giving astrological information, which essentially allows the reader to know the precise, very auspicious moment at which the manuscript was produced. And then it switches to Newari when it's saying this manuscript was completed by such and such a Vajracharya, such and such a tantric priest, a ritual specialist from Nepal. And it was sponsored by such and such a person, in this case, Balakrishna Tuladar, who is from some locality, Natatol in Kathmandu.
So one thing to add here, just to go back to that Dharamula monastery, this is a very important monastery that was a center of production, really, that everyone seemed to have one Dharamula monastery copy of a Pañcarakṣā Sutra. So they were churning out a lot of manuscripts. And this manuscript, it seems the original manuscript might not have had the painted folios, but you can see the wise scribes from the Dharamula were really sought after, given how they were so controlled in their hand and delivering this kind of ornate script, what is often referred to as Ranjana. the ornamental script, and you can see the end of the text marker that's marked with this elaborate lotus pattern with the kind of spikes coming out. So that these scribes are really talented, and they can cater to any sort of level of the donors that have much wealth to little to spare. So, and Tuladar refers to merchant community. So you get a sense this is a donation by a merchant from Kathmandu that got manuscript Pañcarakṣā made for protection.
Great. And when we look at the manuscript itself as a physical object, we notice a few things, like in particular that some of the pages had been replaced. So Alex, briefly, why did pages need to be replaced?
Well, they could be damaged from insects or from fire, water damage. Moisture could have got into them. Yeah, these are some reasons why they may need to be repaired at various points,
Right.
and have folios replaced and also images replaced potentially.
So the yellow page that you're seeing on the bottom, that's the replacement page, more recent, modern one that has one side yellow, the other side white, and the yellowness, and that can add to this what looks like golden flecks are orpiment. Orpiment is famously insecticidal, so you know that they kind of playing on the idea of these papers, kind of channeling earlier material that was used to making text into manuscripts as palm leaf, and you actually have paper that's trying to emulate that. And the bottom slide image actually shows the process of so yellow coloring and the ruling and the writing on top. And in this case, this also suggests the paper quality. As Sarah, you have already sort of fielded that they have kind of different quality to them, and they're thicker than just any normal paper that you expect to see to really enhance the quality of the manuscript as an object. And the whole thing was painted from the side to really create this sense of the presence of the whole manuscript. And the painted pages in this manuscript probably are, as I mentioned earlier, is a later addition.
And then how were these used? Alex, what happens when these get used, Pañcarakṣā manuscripts?
Well, as Jinah mentioned, the Pañcarakṣā Sūtra is usually used for protection. So in order to receive the blessings of these goddesses, one would primarily worship them through a puja, which means a ritual, wherein the manuscript of this text, of this sutra, is worshipped. And then it's opened and divided between, as you see here, between 5 priests, and then read simultaneously. So if you were to read the sutra from cover to cover, it might take something like 15 hours. But if you divide it between 5 priests, no problem, might take just a couple hours. And then it's gathered back together, and the priests will give the worshiper something like a 5-colored thread, which they can wear around their neck or their wrist. And then as they go about their day, they will have the blessings of the 5 goddesses.
And then there's further evidence right in this manuscript of actual use. So Jinah, can you tell us, what are these Tikka marks and what do they indicate?
Well, they are really part of the ritual use of this manuscript. That is, so what this actually also tells us is the goddesses, often if you go to Nepal and go to Buddhist shrines, you will see images of God and goddesses. But Pañcarakṣā is uniquely really resides in manuscripts, like books. So they are invoked and resides in the book. And that's why there are so many Pañcarakṣā manuscripts made. And paintings, in a way, are not just pretty pictures, are the presence, the living of the goddess that are being offered homage, offered venerations, offered worship through these Tikka marks of red and yellow. That actually does signify sun and the Surya and the Vasudha, the goddess of wealth.
A god and a goddess.
Yeah.
Lovely. And they're such visceral marks of human touch too, right? They really show the actual, thumbprints or fingerprints of people who used these. So they kind of transport us back centuries sometimes.
And you get a visceral sense of the person's presence through these marks. So the manuscript is really connected to a person and people before, and it really connects us, to that moment and that person that used to use them.
Wonderful. Well, this was just our short video, but if you want to learn more, we go into a lot more depth in the other video. So please join us there. And there are lots of other videos that can be found on the Hidden Stories digital exhibit, part of the Aga Khan Museum's exhibition, Hidden Stories Along the Silk Road. So please check it out. And thank you so much.